Welcome everyone. We're here and we have Wigglytuff. This will be a very interesting video because Wigglytuff was absolute garbage. It was just really shit. That was the original Lantern Syndrome. Sorry, I was talking to my friends and I was like, should I call it Lantern Syndrome or was there a Pokemon in Gen 1 that suffered from this same flaw of like having massive HP and garbage in its other stats? And it was fucking Wigglytuff. Wigglytuff was the original. Wigglytuff, dude. Look at those stats. They're awful. You might think, oh, 140 speed is good. No, I'm sure most of you guys probably know Wigglytuff is shit, or was shit, rather. It sucks because it's kind of cool. I mean, it's not cool, but it's a classic Gen 1 mon. It's surprising, honestly, kind of surprising they have not buffed it that much, if ever. I guess they give it plus 10 special attack, but like, it's not good enough. And competitive is also not good enough, nor is Frisk. All of Frisk is decently useful in doubles, I guess. In singles too, but mostly doubles. But Frisk is completely useless in game because in game you can just fucking look up the sheets and see what ability item they have. So garbage. Anyways, so Wigglytuff has a lot of really interesting and awesome changes. It has two amazing abilities in Huge Power and Fluffy. And you might be looking at it as like, what the fuck? Huge Power, Wigglytuff. I present you. That is all, folks. If you're like people who are listening in the background are probably confused as fuck right now. That's what I present you Azumarill, okay? They're both rabbits. Wigglytuff blows themselves up. So it actually makes more sense if you want to argue on Azumarill. There's no actual logical reason that Azumarill should have huge power at all. It's just a funny fucking ability because haha, funny rabbit go boom, like bonk bonk. Same reason fucking Diggersby has it. Although Diggersby actually makes sense based on his like appearance and like vibes. But I think it's kind of an untold rule that like the fat chunky rabbit Pokemon have huge power. Obviously Lopunny doesn't because Lopunny's not like fat like Azumarill is and Wigglytuff. But Wigglytuff is kind of a rabbit, and I think it fits Wigglytuff really well. And I think it's really cool that it has the same ability and similar stats to Azumarill. So I like that a lot. And huge power. Help anybody who thought that was weird is now convinced of it being cool and fitting. I just think it fits a lot. I mean, he blows himself up. It just fits. It's the same fucking logic as Azumarill, man. It is what it is. And also, it makes Wigglytuff great. And as for their other ability, it's also incredible, which is Fluffy. And I don't need to explain the logic of Fluffy. It's a very obvious choice. But what you can do is you can run special attacking sets with Fluffy and have 110 base attack, or you could run his physical sets with huge power. And with 50 base attack, the casual fan may think, oh, well, that's 100 base attack. It's not that good. But I'm sure most people know that huge power actually doubles the stat itself. So it doesn't double the base stat. So if I put a max one here, you are at, if this would, what the hell? Why is this bugged right now? Okay, I have to refresh the calc. What was I putting in? 50 with a jolly just to show the speed. Oh, sorry, the attack numbers. Okay, yeah, 436 attack, which is like what? 149? Yeah, 149 base attack. So really powerful stuff right there, obviously, as it should be, because huge power, that's an entire ability slot dedicated to that, and you're losing out on Fluffy. So with Fluffy, you have okay, I have to cover a lot of things. So number one, HP is based much more on size, but they do still keep a good solid HP stat because number one, they're fat, number two, they're a balloon, so they can puff themselves up. So I do see a decent HP stat. So base 80 is very solid, very good. It's an above average, or at least somewhat average. I would say more average is like 70. I'd say 80 is like solid. 80 is good, because HP doesn't work the same way as defense. 80 is a different formula. So 80 speed F is still pretty solid though, but 80 HP especially is solid. So yeah, you have much better special defense, just because I mean, number one, it makes sense. Number two, I didn't have anywhere else to put the stats anyways. And then number three, sorry, and then otherwise, with Fluffy. So with Fluffy, you have 80, 75, 170, 110 bulk. So on huge power sets, you are very bulk, especially physically, you're Physically, you're you can take some hits, but you're not very bulky. But you have massive power. Meanwhile, with Fluffy sets, you have 110 special attack, and I may actually change the stats a tiny bit and give him 60 speed, and what am I trying to say here? 60 speed and 80 physical defense or something, or like 85, 85, and 100 special attack, just because Fluffy's already great. You don't need that much special attack. Also, high special attack stat doesn't really fit Wigglytuff, so I actually will change that live. Live changes, guys. Oh my god, live. I should have looked into that before, because I did this a couple months ago, and so my opinions will change as time goes on. But I like 100 special attack more. I think it fits better, and then I can do something. Hold on, I might have to even lower it more, but I don't think I have to. All right, I know what to do. Here we go. Perfect. So perfect. So here's the new stat spread. I will show you guys live. And I already changed it in the game file, so that's all done and said with. Although the speed increases kind of messed up that way. Never mind. 55 speed will stay. What else can I take away 5 from? HP can just be defense. Yeah. Okay. So just it's bulkier now, and it's slightly less strong, especially, which is fitting because again, Fluffy. So you're okay. I'll just talk more about it when I fix this. So HP is now minus 55, and you have base 85 HP, and then you have plus 35 defense and base 80 defense. And this should be a lighter yellow color to fit the new stat, and then this is plus 15. Base 100 special attack fits more in my opinion. I think 110 is kind of weirdly high for it. I know it's Wigglytuff, so like it doesn't fucking matter, but this is better. Also, this is more balanced because Fluffy is great, so this is like a more fair trade. So you're getting your. Let me just fix this color before I talk. Okay, we're good. That's fixed. That's up to date, and then the stat total is the same. Okay, that way we still have 480. So which is like the minimum for a fully evolved mon that isn't like Ditto or something stupid like that, or like Unknown, etc. Which will be incredible in their own ways. Trust me. Just stay tuned for that. But so. Wigglytuff now, so essentially you have 159 base attack with huge power, roughly. So basically 150, or I'm just gonna say 149, not 159, sorry, 150 base roughly. So you have 85, 80, 110 bulk, and 150 attack, or 85. And then let me do the math for Fluffy now. So Fluffy only activates on contact. So Fluffy is very balanced because it's not like Fur Coat. Although Fur Coat is great, but there's another normal fairy type with Fur Coat. Technically there's 2. But one of them is a form change, so it doesn't really count. Is a Pokemon that can change into a bunch of different types. That's all I'll say. If you're intuitive enough to be able to tell what I'm talking about based on that, I applaud you. That's like a really difficult riddle because it's not a Pokemon that could change types before. That's what I'll say. Its forms were all the same type. That's what I'll say. I think that should be kind of obvious now. But anyways, that's a cool little riddle if you want to solve that in the comments, and you can guess what Pokemon actually will change types based on the form now. You also might just know if like you're really in tune with the server. I might have mentioned it once or twice, maybe, but yeah. Anyways, as I was saying, with Fluffy, you only activate on contact. So, for example, stuff like Earthquake will not be affected by Fluffy, so you're missing out on that there. But that's the beauty of having infinite ability capsules. So, say for example, you're in a fight and you need to wall a physical attacker that is using contact moves, you run Fluffy. Say your physical attacking mon that you need Wigglytuff to fight uses non-contact moves, or you just want the power of huge power, then you use huge power. You can swap your abilities very often, and that is amazing to have. You aren't stuck with one ability. You can swap them infinitely, and the more skilled players will be able to abuse that really nicely. So, again, 150 base attack with huge power, and and then 100. Did I change the color on this? I feel like I didn't. There we go. It's better. It was off. What was I trying to say? Sorry, y'all. I'm losing my train of thought. Yeah, defense. So Fluffy only activates then, and then another downside of Fluffy is that it gives you so it only activates on contact moves, and it gives you a weakness to fire. So you are now weak to poison, steel, and fire. And you are neutral to bug. So normal fairy normal fairy has no resist. That's kind of rough. But it's fair because you do have 2 amazing immunities in Ghost and Dragon. Very, very useful immunities because those 2 types have some of the best neutral coverage in the game. Dragon only really being good for stab, Ghost just being amazing in general. So you do have 2 amazing, unique abilities. Only normal and fairy is immune to both those types at once. So that's very good. So I would say it's worth it. And only 3 weaknesses in poison, fairy, and steel in the case of Fluffy, and only 2 weaknesses. So Normal Fairy is a good type, despite having no resistances. So 2 immunities to Ghost and Dragon, 2 weaknesses. Oh, you resist Dark Rift and Blind. You have 1 resistance, and it's a good one at that. But no more Bug, because Bug is neutral on Fairy type now. Bug is also neutral on, this is unrelated, but Bug is also neutral on Fighting and Ghost, if you are curious. There are very small type chart changes, and if you really, really hate that kind of thing for some reason, I wouldn't recommend using the patch or manually turning them off, but if they really bug you, you can do it. It's not that hard, or I'll just release a patch that has one without it, but I would recommend using the type chart change versions, because number one, everything else is already fucking reworked and made as well. Number two, I balanced Pokemon with that in mind, so I balanced bugs and ice types with the idea that they have 3 resistances in ice types case and 3 better offensive coverage in bug types case. Bug type isn't as important. It's very good, don't get me wrong, the offensive buff, but the defensive ice type nerf is really important, so I would buff rather. The defensive ice type buff is really important, so I would recommend playing with that. But this is not a video about type chart. I will make a video about that one day. I really will. I already have a bunch of text on the fucking sheet here if you want to go check that out, if you want to read. Or if you just accept these at face value, then don't bother reading. Or if you accept them at face value but you're just still interested, then read it. You know, whatever you want to do. Doesn't bother me. But I will make a video on this eventually. Probably when I'm done with the mod changes, I'll make a bunch of videos on all this other stuff, like all the moves. That would be, dude, like a 3-hour video on all the moves would be kind of fucking crazy with the little timestamps for each move. I wouldn't actually do one individual move. I would just do like blanket statements for each move. But anyways, this is very off topic. I'm so sorry. So yeah, Fluffy is great. Huge power is great. Fluffy gives you, when you are hit by a physical contact move, you are having base. Oh, it's really high. Base 568. Sorry, not base 568. Rather, your stat number is maxing out at 568, which is roughly equivalent to. Oh, even higher. I was off on that estimate. Oh my god, even more. Okay. 209. 209 base defense. So your Wigglytuff can have 2 options with its abilities. Your Wigglytuff either has 85. This is obviously a rough estimate because this estimate was done with max IVs and plus nature. Obviously, it'll be slightly lower, but I'm just, just for the sake of showing you guys like an idea of how strong it is. You either have base 85, 80, 110 bulk with 150 attack with huge power, or you have base 85, 209, 110 bulk with Fluffy and 100 special attack, which is significantly lower than 150 attack, but you are much significantly bulkier. However, it only works on contact and you're also weak to fire. So I think the 2 abilities are very balanced in terms of how good one is compared to the other one, and I'm really happy with that. Like, they are very balanced, and you should be switching between them often, unless you got like a modest nature one. Then I guess just run the Fluffies. That's always. But of course, even then, there'll still be cases where you might want that stronger physical hit, because even if you're modest, you're still going to be really strong physically. You will still be stronger physically than you are especially, I believe. Actually check 100. With the plus nature is 328 versus 50 with a minus nature at +2 is still stronger. Yeah, 328 versus 358. So you're still stronger with huge power. Obviously, you lose out on the Fluffy bulk, but you might not need Fluffy bulk. Maybe you don't even need your Wigglytuff to fight a physical attacker at all that fight. That's the beauty of it. There's so many boss fights and there's so many trainer fights, and you have the docs for all of them, which, I mean, I will upload those and I will make them all nice and easy to read. And you can just plan out what ability you're using for which fight. So that's the beauty of it all. So that explains the abilities. Pre-evolutions are strong. The base attack is really funny. I actually have the estimates written in this, so I'm not going to waste time calculating them out. Yeah, so with maxed out stats, Wigglybuff's base 20 attack is actually base 90, which is very good for early game. So 90 attack or 65 special attack with Floppy, and with special stats. And then Jigglypuff's is base 119. I believe it's base 89 for. I remember, yeah, I rounded it up. Base 89, 119, and 149 is what these max out at. So 89 attack for Wigglybuff, which it doesn't matter. You evolve before Hala, and it's just for Ilima and Totem Gumshoes and a couple like base trainers and stuff, and the early game, and then like the early game, and then for the actual early game and like early mid game, you have Jigglypuff, which is base 119 attack with huge power, which is very strong. At level 17, you get a base 119 attack Mon. I mean, that's really powerful. And you also have dual stab priority. So that's amazing. So you can either run Fluffy for Hala if you want, to get that bulk, and you can run a special set, or you can run like huge power Fairy Blow and click priority Fairy Blow on half his team and just fucking destroy them with 50 base power fairy type priority, physical priority. That's what Fairy Blow is if you're not familiar. I have tons of new priority moves. Every type has at least one widespread priority move. Most types have 2, with the exception of ground, and maybe that's it actually. Ground, and then there's one where it doesn't have widespread. Steel? Yeah, ground and steel. Ground doesn't have a widespread physical priority, and then Steel doesn't have a widespread special priority. Those are both. There's Bone Rush and Magnetic Burst, which are magnetic burst, which are priority moves, but they are exclusive. Bone Rush always being exclusive to like Marowak and maybe Lucario, and then and maybe Mandibuzz, and then this is not relevant. I need to shut up. Jesus, this is not a fucking priority move video. This is a Wigglytuff video. I'm so sorry. Hopefully you guys appreciate the rambling and don't find it annoying. If you do find it annoying, you probably clicked off already. So yeah, okay. So yeah, special sets, you have a lot of great utility. I'm not going to go through all of it. You guys hopefully know what all these moves do now. You know, you got Baby Doll Eyes play nice for -1 attack or special attack, that's priority. Encore Disable is great. Tearful Look is -1 offenses, that's great. Fake Out is great with huge power. Disarming Voice and Harmonize are 60 base power and always drop attack and special attack respectively, I believe. Maybe attack for both, actually, I forget. Doesn't matter though right now. So I may as well low-key just make those moves -2 with the both offenses, but I probably should. That'd be a pretty cool change, wouldn't it? Just so it's more consistent, like, oh yeah, they always just boost minus both one offenses. That'd be cooler, but I'll leave it for now. I'll leave it for now. Anyways, as I was saying, Fake Tears, Slack Off for reliable recovery with fluffy sets and huge power sets. Slack Off is very nice to have. Baton Pass is negative priority. You can also Baton Pass stuff like Nasty Plot, Calm Mind, and Bulk Up. Also, Bulk Up is great on huge power sets, and I guess technically fluffy sets you could use it. And then fluffy sets, Calm Mind or Nasty Plot is amazing with those. You also have stuff like Draining Kiss for healing on fluffy sets. So that's all awesome. And I feel like I could also change Wigglytuff to be like 80. I don't know. These stats are fine. Yeah, these are fine. So yeah, you got a bunch of other little things. Like, I'm not gonna waste time covering all these little things. There's a lot of really useful stuff in these level up moves. If you're curious, you can open up the Google Sheets in the description and go into the Control F bar and literally just search all of them. You can find them. I will cover notable ones though. So at level 70, you get Boom Burst, which is 125 base power now, which is technically a nerf, but obviously way more stuff gets it, so it's not really a nerf. And also just for balancing reasons. You have 125 base power Boom Burst, which is no drawbacks, great move, which is great for fluffy sets. You have Belly Drum, which is amazing for huge power sets. It's basically like, you know, Zoomeril with Aqua Jet, but instead it has Fairy Blow, and Fairy Blow, actually, no, Fake Out doesn't work that way, obviously. Eternal Beam is just really powerful. Fairy move, Floor Cannon as well. Specialty wise, what am I trying to say? Jesus. Enchantment is great. So Enchantment is Geomancy, but it only gives you +1 speed instead of +2 speed. So base 55 speed at +1 is not the fastest, but if you invest in it, it'll be relatively quick. Say, for example, you have a neutral nature Wigglytuff with max speed investment, you're hitting 313, which is respectable. And if you have a plus speed nature, then you're really fast. I mean, then you're outspeeding a good amount of stuff. And of course, you have +2 special attack, +2 special defense. And with Fluffy, you have double defense on contact moves. So you're very bulky and very strong and pretty fast. So you can actually do that without even worrying about the speed boost if you don't care about it that much. You can also just use it as like a double Calm Mind in one turn. So for example, if you use a sleep move like Sing, which lasts 2 turns. So if you are slower than the opponent, you will be getting 2 turns of sleep. If you are faster than the opponent, you will be getting only 1 turn of setup. So let's say you outsped them, you can then click Power Herb Enchantment and get that instant boost, versus Calm Mind is a less boost in 1 turn. Obviously that takes up your item slot though. So yeah, if you want to run Wide Lens, then you can run Calm Mind instead or something. But yeah, that's really good stuff there. Or Zoom Lens to make 100% accurate. But obviously then you have to move last and have them hit you. Or actually, I think it's just if they move first. I don't think they have to hit you for Zoom Lens. To Google it right now. Synchronoise is really great. It's 120 base power and it gives you +1 special attack. The only downside being that it only works on normal or fairy types. But again, 120 base power stab plus special attack is definitely situationally very worth using. Hop gives you +3 attack rather. So that's just a really, really strong move. Z Hop, huge power plus Fairy Blow priority is insanely powerful. Paris Long is just nice utility for some totem battles. You know, you deal that in 3 turns, you can protect stall them for totem fights. A lot of great coverage moves. Tons of great elemental coverage on both sides. I don't need to waste time covering it all. They have tons of great coverage. That's all you need to know on both sides. I guess physical coverage is slightly better, but not that much. But physical coverage is better because you have ground and rock moves, especially, and also dark moves. So you have ground, rock, and dark moves that you don't have access to physically, that you do have access to special. Sorry, other way around. You don't have special coverage that is ground, rock, or dark. or bug. But you do have physical coverage that is ground, rock, dark, or bug. So physical sets are better coverage-wise, but of course you have very good special sets as well. Obviously you have everything you need really, like all the elemental crap is there. Not too much else to cover really. I mean, I could cover every little nitty-gritty thing, but it would take forever. Holdback is very useful, gives you +1 attack and +1 accuracy, but it doesn't knock out the opponent, which can actually be an advantage if you are smart with it. You can actually make it so you can get +6 attack, which you actually can't do with any other move really. Because other moves will knock out. For example, Power Up Punch would knock out the opponent eventually. And so let's say you click Charm. Let's say you click Charm 3 times on the opponent. Now they're -6 attack, and now they're doing 0 damage to you. Now you can click Holdback 6 times, or 5 times rather. It's only 5 PP. So you'll get 5 holdbacks, and then now you're +5 attack. And that's early on. That's level fucking 35. So you get +5 attack level 35. Obviously, you need some setup for that to work, but it's definitely worth doing. And you also have reliable recovery with Slack Off or Wish, so you can really take advantage of that. And you can use your priority move, +5 attack, huge power. As long as they're not like a 4 times resist, they probably just die in one hit to that. But I'm giving you guys all the secret little cheat big brain strategies, which I shouldn't be doing, but I'm doing it anyways because it's fun. And honestly, if you're listening to these videos and you're also remembering this information and using it in your playthrough, then I want to reward that. I want to reward that type of attention to detail. So yeah, I think that's about everything. Not too much else to cover. I could cover a little more things, but it would take too long. Tons of great coverage. I don't need to cover it all. Yeah, thanks for listening to this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I know I did.